Good evening, viewers. I'm Susan Kabonero Muhwezi, the chairperson of Uganda Hotel Owners Association and vice chair of Uganda Tourism Board. I'm happy to be here this evening to tell you about the journey of Uganda Hotel Owners Association. The journey of Uganda Hotel Owners Association starts about 22 years ago. It was founded by about 9 members, and our founding father was the late BMK Chivirige, the proprietor of BMK Properties and Hotel Africana. When it started with a vision of putting a voice together for Ugandans who were investing in the hospitality sector. It was not something that was happening before. Most hotels, either like Serena, Sheraton, they didn't wholly belong to indigenous Ugandans. So with the founding members thought it fit to have an association that can lobby government when they get challenges, but also to be able to do proper investment in the country in this new sector. Because as you know, tourism, as we speak, was our #1 foreign exchange earner. So it was very important, when you attract tourists, where are they going to stay? Also, what is true about the hospitality sector, it employs about 90% of the entire tourism sector. And it cuts across the entire value chain, because it's the hotels that buy agricultural products. It's the hotels that employ women and youth. So it really cuts across the entire value chain. So at that time, we felt that it's important to have us together at an umbrella association, where we can do advocacy, where we can do training, where we can lobby government. For example, right now we've been lobbying government. Hotels pay about 25 taxes and licenses. That's so much for the hospitality sector. But also the association collaborates with, like, Uganda Tourism Board in the marketing and promotion of Destination Uganda. So it's a very, very important association. About our activities, we participate in the entire tourism sector. When you are hosting Miss Tourism, it's in the hotels. When you have conferences, they are held in hotels. I don't know if you know about MICE, meetings, incentives, conferences, and events. All those happen in hotels. People have weddings, they're in hotels. So much goes out in hotels. It's not just about accommodation. There are restaurants, there are bars. So a hotel is an important thing in a country. And so, apart from providing employment, so what does the Hotel Owners Association do? We collect, we have members. Right now we have over 600 hoteliers. We engage with them to know their challenges. I've just told you that right now we are having challenges of a high taxation policy, but we also engage with them to make sure that people get trained in the hotels. There's UHTTI, Uganda Hotel Training Institute in Jinja. But if people to work in hotels, they need to do practical things. So normally these are employed in these hotels. We also help our members. For example, we were given exemptions on things that are being imported into the country, but this had been abused the first time this was given. So we liaised with Uganda Revenue Authority. We said, for people putting up hotels, apart from making sure that they have the right standards, they also must have a letter from Uganda Hotel Owners Association. We signed a memorandum of understanding saying, yes, this is a true investor, this is a true hotelier, his building and all the things that are being imported are branded for a hotel. Let's say, for example, Speak Resort Munyonyo, it's a hotel for Hotel Africana, it's a hotel in Jinja, in Barara. So we have a secretariat that has a CEO, Ms. Jean Vyamjisha, and under her, she has some people that work with her in making sure we collect membership, in making sure we visit the different hotels, see how they're operating, to make sure we work closely with UTB in making it for quality assurance, to make sure that hotels meet the right standards. We work with our secretariat works with government, like when there was the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, which was a big challenge for the tourism sector. Not only that, for the entire country. It was a big challenge, but the Hotel Owners Association worked closely with Ministry of Finance, Uganda Development Bank, and the entire government to make sure that we get a stimulus package from UDB and European Union to assist the distressed sector, because most hotels laid off people. And so we needed people to get back this employment. So we worked and made sure that hotels were able to access this stimulus package, though it wasn't enough, but it put some breathing space and some recovery for the hotel sector and the tourism sector. We continue to lobby to this day because, as you know, this is a very sensitive sector. Anything that happens, like right now, when Ministry of Health says that there's Ebola, there are cancellations for people that were supposed to fly in, hotels were booked, people were going for tours, there are cancellations. So we have still to come in and liaise with Ministry of Health and liaise with government, because countries put out travel advisories that please don't travel, there's Ebola or there's COVID. So we really have to keep on our toes, making sure that this sector thrives, survives the changing times, survives all these pandemics. And because these people that own these hotels have invested heavily in this economy. So it's very, very important that they have a voice that can speak for them. And so that's what Hotel Owners Association does. As far as challenges are concerned, apart from COVID and all these pandemics and the high taxes, we get problems like for utilities, the cost of power is high. We get challenges, we want infrastructure done, because hotels don't stop just at hotels. There are lodges in the parks. So we are always liaising with the Uganda Wildlife Authority, with UTB, with UNRA, to make sure the tourism roads are done. You know, so we cover a lot of things as Hotel Owners Association. We work closely with private sector foundation to make sure that when they have funds, for example now, this morning I was meeting with private sector foundation, trying to see how they can work with the association so that we are able to access funds for technology, for solar, for many, online, because everything now is digital, for marketing. This morning I was meeting the ED, Mr. Stephen Asimu, who is also passionate about tourism, to see how we can collaborate as an association and be able to access some of the funds that go through private sector foundation. And he was able to tell me that there are projects under, like for women in business, for women in hospitality, for the youth, especially in creation of jobs for the youth, because definitely you know that there's unemployment, and the hospitality sector is part of those sectors that actually employ youth and women most. So that's part of the activities that we do to help with the challenges that this sector keeps facing. What is our way forward? Our way forward is to make sure that any hotelier in Uganda is registered with Uganda Hotel Owners Association. And since I'm also the Vice Chair of Uganda Tourism Board, is licensed by Uganda Tourism Board, so that if there's anything that happens to a tourist, there's a trace. And that will help in making sure that we maintain the East African standards. As you know, under UTB, there is classification and grading, whether you're a 2-star, whether you're a 5-star, whether you're a 4-star, and this happens every year. Right now, we've been doing sensitization programs, so Uganda Hotel Owners Association has been working closely with UTB to make sure that this exercise of classification and grading is embraced by the hoteliers. Because remember, someone is coming out of a COVID pandemic. People have lost their jobs. Some hotels have loans, and then you're saying, we are going to classify you, we are going to grade you. Some hoteliers don't want to hear this. So we become the bridge between UTB and the hoteliers to say, this is good for us. This is good for us. We'll be able to have standards that are East Africa, so that if someone sleeps in a hotel in Nairobi and sleeps in a hotel in Uganda and it's a 5-star, they are at par. Instead of coming from Kenya or Tanzania and you come to Uganda and you say, they said this hotel was a 5-star, but it's actually not a 5-star. So we also have signed a memorandum of understanding with UTB, though we were still emphasizing, because our hoteliers are paying a fee to UTB, yet you'll find like tour operators are not paying the same fee to UTB. And this is a burden on hoteliers, because like I've told you, they're already paying 25 taxes and licenses, lift tax, a bar tax, a music tax, all these kinds of taxes. So we've been lobbying, and we hope to get to Parliament and to Ministry of Finance that harmonize these taxes. Let hoteliers pay 2 or 3 taxes that we know, and then put a tourism development levy so that this can develop the hotel sector. We also hope that UDB, one day we will be able to get money to build more hotels and more lodges at a low interest rate, at least 1 digit, because it's the interest rates in the country prohibit development. So that's my prayer. That's the future that I'm looking at. As far as Uganda at 60, definitely I'm excited that Uganda is celebrating 60, because people tend to forget where we have come from. We have come a long way. And when a country is growing, there are labor pains, there are challenges, but this country belongs to all of us, and each of us must do their bit. We as Hotel Owners Association, we are doing our bit in investing in the country. With brick and mortar, the Hotel Owners Association is the largest private sector association in the country. Though you'll find more is given out to others, but hoteliers have invested heavily their own money in this country. So we call upon government to make sure that they support us, and the support that we are asking for is not huge. It's to say, harmonize the tax policy. there's been classification and grading, but UTB decided to start with sensitization of the hotel sector. And this has been going on countrywide, Western Uganda, Northern Uganda, Eastern Uganda, Central, so that everybody begins to buy in the grading and classification. And when I talk of grading and classification, what am I talking about? The standards are East African community standards, you know, like I was saying, so that when you move from a 5-star in Dar, you stay in a 5-star in Kampala, let's say, or Serena, or Sheraton, or Munyonyo, Speak Resort, or you go to Mountains of the Moon in Fort Portal, or you go to Mbare Resort, or you go to Gulu, you know that these are the required standards of a 5-star hotel. These are the required standards of a 3-star hotel. If I'm going to Ajip, or I'm going to Cephas Inn, or I'm going to a lodge, for example, Chambura, is it a 4-star? Is it a 5-star? So that we were trying, and you know, you can go from a 3-star and graduate a 4-star or to a 5-star. But you can also be a 5-star and your star goes down if you're not meeting certain standards and criteria like service, like making sure that you are doing the greening. As you know, everything now is about the green economy. You know, are you meeting those standards as well? And what we also do as hotel owners in collaboration with UTB is to make sure that the new investors are given these standards before they build, so that you know you need a ramp, you need a good kitchen, you need certain bathrooms if you are aiming to be graded as a certain bathroom size, if you are aiming to be graded as a 5-star. But Uganda at 60, let's come to Uganda at 60 as we celebrate Uganda at 60. I look back and I know that Uganda has come a long way. Look at the roads, look at the infrastructure. Look at the peace His Excellency and the government, the NRM government, have brought this country. You cannot begin to invest when there's war. So we thank God for the peace that how Uganda has been an island of peace in the region. And not only peace, freedom. You are able to criticize government and go home and sleep. You are able to point out the wrongs, the challenges. I can complain about the 25 taxes and licenses, and they will listen. So this is credit to the NRM government. It's credit to His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni. Tourism before, no one wanted to know about tourism. Students were not even going to Makerere to study tourism. No, but now, because it contributes about 7.7% to the GDP of this country. You know, we've just done branding for Uganda, Explore Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you know. So there's so much to celebrate in Uganda at 60, and tourism as a sector and the hospitality sector. There's so much to celebrate Uganda at 60. When it's not long ago, these hotels belonged to Uganda Hotels. Remember, in the 50s, in the 60s, these hotels that people have bought, White Horse Inn, Ajip, what? They didn't belong to individuals. But now, the indigenous Ugandans have invested in hotels. They are the members that we have in the association. That's something to be proud of as a country. It's a wonderful journey that we have walked. You know, even building synergies to know, I know I had ever been on the board of UTB. When I see where UTB is housed now, when I see the national parks, when I see the tourists flying into the country, when I look at the revival of Uganda Airlines, our national carrier, all these are part of our celebration in Uganda at 60. I really want to appreciate His Excellency the President for leading this country for these last 34 years, and the colleagues that he went with to fight for the peace of this country and the peace that we are enjoying today, and economic development in the different sectors, tourism being one of them. You know, when you fly into Entebbe and fly over Kampala, and you see the high rises, and you see the hotels, and you see, in fact, all I call upon is for people to actually engage in tourism. It's everybody's business. Look at Lake Victoria. We need tourism boats there. We need boats that people can hire and go for dinner and go make weddings. You know, people have forgotten that before there were not these big tents that are in hotels. Look at Mestil. Look at Marriott that is coming up. So as far as I'm concerned, we are doing so well, and we have all the reason to thank God, to celebrate, to support this government. Even the democracy, the fact that people are here criticizing the government in power, this was not there before. So really, I want to thank, even I in particular want to thank the media, because you are the voice of the tourism sector, you are the voice of the hospitality sector, and in this I want to pay special recognition to Uganda Broadcasting Corporation for the good job you are doing, because this is not the first time I've been interviewed. I was interviewed about AGOA, and here I am talking about Uganda Hotel Owners Association, about Uganda Tourism Board, about Uganda at 60. This is what the young generation need to listen to. What it was like before, during the 50s, the 60s, the turmoil of the 70s and the 80s, and what we are enjoying today. You need to put this message out there that Uganda is for us all, and we all have a part to play in whatever sector we are in, be it agriculture, be it tourism, be it manufacturing. You know, we need to add value on our wood, on our leather. We don't need to keep importing in things for the hotels. We want them to be made here. So this sector is huge. And like they say, it's everybody's business. So let's do everything to support it. I really thank you for coming here. And I believe that as we celebrate Uganda at 60, tourism will continue to thrive, will continue to contribute to the GDP of the country. And I call upon government to make sure that they harmonize the tax policy, that they do the infrastructure to the tourism sites, that they support us in every way, that they put a tourism fund in UDB or UDC where hoteliers can access reasonable money, because you cannot milk a cow that you are not feeding. Let them feed us and we'll pay the taxes. I thank you for listening to me, for God and my country. May Uganda continue to prosper.